Today we are taking on a task that has been haunting us for 6 months. We are hiking up to see the Kjeragbolten, that rock that dangles between two cliffs, no more than a couple of meters wide, with a 1,000-meter drop on either side. To save ourselves the anxiety in the lead up to our trip, we decided not to do it. And in this video, we're going to show you how we went from this to this, and why. It all started with a conversation with a passing hiker. They also said that the rock at the top to stand on, it's scary, but it's very safe. So looking forward to seeing what that looks like. Now I'd like to say that that conversation planted a seed, but the fact is, I've been thinking about almost nothing else in the weeks leading up to this. And the chances are, if you're watching this video, that you're going through that same process now. So hopefully this video will help you answer that question of whether you should or should not stand on that rock.
I should listen to myself.
You mean you should listen to me?
No, you told me not to.
Excuse me. I don't know if I did. Anyway, we're starting now. We have some reservations about our level of preparedness, mostly in terms of gloves, none, and shoes, where we just have normal sneakers rather than hiking boots. Aside from that, I think we're okay. It's going to be a test of your fortitude, Annie. But we're on time. Weather looks reasonable. The rain isn't meant to come till midday, which means we'll get most of the way back by then. So,
yeah, as long as it's not raining up there.
Yeah, well, I'm sure it will at some stage, but it's just a matter of how much rain. So I think we'll be good.
I'm exhausted.
Yep. We can still see the car. So while we were joking about our lack of preparedness, the fact is we got extremely lucky with the weather. There's two things that could really make or break your day. If you don't have hiking boots on, like we didn't, if those rocks get wet, you are going to have an awful time. So I can only encourage you to please wear hiking boots. The trail is very, very steep in some sections and it would get extremely slippery and dangerous. We were a little bit careless and, like I said, got very, very lucky with the weather. The other is gloves. Now I was okay. You don't necessarily need them, but I did bring a pair of socks for Anne to put over her hands just in case, and she used them the whole time. But she did, of course, improvise with other techniques along the way.
It's not going out my phone. I don't see anyone.
It's actually quite pleasant coming up the other side. It's completely shielded from the wind. The temperature's mild, it's quiet and still. Except for our panting because the steps are quite steep. Whew, that's good. Each incline on the trail is followed by a decline and then a larger incline, and you get steadily higher and higher as you go up the mountain. And it was on that second incline that we had that fateful conversation. So we're almost an hour in to the minute, and we're nearly up to the top of this second hill, and we just ran into someone coming down the other way who said it's about another 40 minutes to an hour. So seems like we're making good time. They also said that the rock at the top to stand on, it's scary, but it's very safe. So looking forward to seeing what that looks like. We'd been talking about this for months and had basically agreed that we probably shouldn't stand on this rock because the risk versus reward thing didn't really add up. But tell you what, it's hard not to get caught up in the hype and get excited being up here. And after that guy telling us how safe it felt, despite being scary, we are definitely reconsidering, so we'll see. And as we nearly get to the ridge, we look way up there. I'm sure it's deceiving on camera. You can see tiny little people. So, one foot in front of the other. This is one of those things you really just have to see for yourself. On video, I'm sure that this doesn't look that impressive, but standing in front of it, it's an incredibly daunting face of rock that we have to somehow make our way up. Okay, maybe we're not as close as I thought. There's 2.6 k's to go, bub. So we're not near. Well, the fog's rolled in at the wrong time. Woohoo, that is a long way down already. We're about to go up there. Oh, we're half an hour too late to get a nice clear shot of, I forget how to pronounce the name of the town. It starts with an L. The town's name is Lysebotn, but more on this later in the video. Now we got to the final steep ridge. It's the longest one by a long way, and it's very, very steep in some sections, but there are chains guiding you most of the way up. So as long as the rock stays dry, it's pretty easy to navigate your way up there, even if it does get the calves burning at times. You then come to a long flat section, which resembles the surface of the moon. It's all very grey, not particularly interesting, but it does give you plenty of headspace to contemplate what your next move is going to be when you arrive. Nearly there. Yay! Oh, there it is. Now the rock itself, with the fjord in the background behind the really, really steep cliffs, is an amazing sight. It's totally worth it even if you have no interest in standing on the rock. But no matter where you look, no matter how beautiful, the rock is right there, gnawing away at that voice inside your head. Wow. There's a lot of people just jumping on and off this rock very easily. Everyone also has hiking shoes on. I have sneakers. Ooh, I don't know. I guess the final thing that can really wind you up to want to do it is just seeing people jumping on and off the rock like it's nothing. But the fact is, the top of the rock is round, it's thin, and while you could jump on and off that thing all day long if there wasn't a 1,000-meter drop next to it, one little slip and there's no second chances. So I don't think I could ever encourage anyone to do this. It's such a huge risk for so little gain. But having said that, I still kind of did it. Alright, so I did it. It's an odd feeling. I can't say I'm thrilled about it. It wasn't as bad as what I was expecting, but as I was taking the step out, a little bit of a leg wobble, like it's hard not to contemplate what you're about to do, but yeah, it's done, but I don't feel thrilled like I normally would after an adrenaline rush. I'm kind of like, wasn't necessarily worth it. So despite my less than enthusiastic reaction when I got off the rock, Arne was inspired to do it anyway. So we both did it.
I did it.
How was it for you?
It was so scary. I would not do it again. I don't know. I don't know.
The question is, was it worth it?
No, I wouldn't do it again. It's not worth it.
Yeah. So the walk up was about 2.5 hours, maybe 2 hours 45. We're there for what, half an hour or so? So start the long walk back. We'll get some of it done and then stop for lunch, I think, although they said it was going to start raining around midday. It's now 11:45. We've got a slight sprinkle, according to the puddles. And so we're going to get as much done of this as we can before stopping to eat and keeping an eye on the weather, because if it starts raining, the last part is going to be much, much more difficult in our slippery shoes. So, when they say wear hiking shoes, it's probably best to listen to them, especially if you're going to jump on that damn rock. That's what made me a little bit hesitant. It's these slippery ass shoes. Anyway. We continued to be extremely lucky with the weather on the way down. Most of the morning fog cleared and we had great visibility. Finally, well-earned sandwich. We were just waiting for the right view. Amazing. There's a clear view of the town this time. Yay. Backs onto that magnificent valley. There's the valley with the river that leads up to where we just were. That's a video. Oops. I love this valley. So nice. Just need a little bit of sunshine. Some of the sections that don't have the chains are particularly tricky on the way back down, but Arne had the technique to get us down there safely. But as long as the rocks remained dry, it was actually quite easier to just walk down upright. You got good grip, and the further we went down, the more we were treated to the view that we missed out on the way up because of all the fog. I can see the car, finally. Yay. Now I'm just going to concentrate for this last little bit, not stack it. It's time for a nice warm coffee. Maybe a beer. 2 proper stacks on this last little stretch. She's okay. I nearly did. But yeah, it's just, that first section is probably the most difficult on the way up and the way down. You just forget by the time you get back here, but yeah, very tricky. One more corner and we're done. And we made it. Yes.
Yes, and it's starting to rain now, which is like perfect timing.
Yep. So, nothing bruised.
Yeah.
Except Anne's ego.
Oh.
And her butt.
Oh my god.
She had a few stacks. Whoa! She nearly had another one.
Oh, that one hurts.
When you finish your hike, do yourself a favour and head all the way down the mountain to the town of Lysebotn. If you head to the waterfront there, this was our first glimpse for just how beautiful the fjords in Norway are and really set the tone for the rest of our road trip. And look at that. Unbelievable. Absolutely stunning. Arne and I then spent the rest of our afternoon just enjoying the fact that we were still alive and that we'd had such a memorable experience that day.